Georgianne Duberstein.
Here.
Koval.
Here.
And Williams.
Here.
Okay, we have quorum. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond.
Aye.
George Duberstein.
Aye.
Crease.
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein.
Aye.
Koval.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Public comments. Kevin, got anything for us?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we'll wait.
Okay. This morning, 10 o'clock came and went, and where was our siren test?
I heard it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
I heard it.
so we have a problem with our siren because on the north side of town, I heard nothing. I could hear other communities around us with the sirens going off. I called Chief Formica and he said, we gotta look into it. So,
We have annual maintenance on it, and it wasn't done that long ago, so I will follow up on it.
okay, that's,
Tell the guy.
yeah, that's kind of what I had, you know, because I was like, I sat there with three open windows in the house and I heard nothing.
Were you snoring?
No.
It goes on and on and on and on.
All right,
and
Yeah.
on.
Okay, so check siren. All right, need a motion to approve the consent agenda. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
No, that's me, I think. I'm just leaning on my phone.
Trustees Richmond.
Aye.
Crease.
Aye.
Koval.
You
Aye.
have reached the maximum
George
time permitted
Duberstein?
for
Aye.
recording your message.
Georgianne Duberstein.
Enter
Aye.
7.
Williams.
Aye.
Got it, Kevin?
Yep, I just
Motion.
put it on vibrate.
Okay, thank you. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Reports, finance, Mary.
Okay, audit status. Auditors and Kelly
Hang a
are,
minute. We can see a lot of phones out. Did everybody got them turned down, off, muted? I know you're having fun with your new phone, Doug.
Oh, no, I'm using my phone because I don't have the password.
Oh,
written.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
okay. Auditors and Kelly are working on the newest GASB requirements, which is the statement providing guidance on the accounting and financial reporting for the subscription-based information technology agreements. They are almost completed with the reviewing of these contracts, and once they're done, they can issue a draft to follow and be presented to the board here. She's also making headway with the administrative and fiscal policy manual. Once she's done with her portion of it, Mayor Daley, myself, and Kelly will meet, review it, make any changes, and then present that to the board. And then the budgeting process actually starts this month, because it's October now, not September.
My goodness.
And, yep, she'll be getting those drafts, worksheets out to everybody to start working on. And that's it in the regular finance part.
Anything on, did I dismiss it on the levy?
That's in business.
Okay, perfect, thanks. Finance Great Age Club, World
Uh,
Traveler.
Since we couldn't meet here Thursday, we're meeting at our house. And we're planning our annual progressive dinner. It's getting less and less progressive. We end up going to like 2 houses now instead of a bunch, and we order in the main thing instead of having people cook, so it's getting easier and easier. Swelco, there's nothing other than there's a meeting on the 16th of October. The other thing is the Family Fun Fest went surprisingly well, considering it got thrown together in such a short time. People complained that there wasn't more, but, you know, considering it, you know, it was, I actually was finished in about 3 weeks, so.
You did a
know,
good job.
Yes.
Did a great
Thank
job.
you. There were a bunch of suggestions of things that they would like to see us do. So I think the idea of sending out a survey kind of thing would be a useful tool.
I think all the board members got Ms. Strauss' email?
Right,
Okay, and got my response
right.
for thoughts, okay.
Yes.
Any, as long as that topic is up, any comments or thoughts?
Well,
Go ahead, I'll wait.
No, I was gonna say, I know that in the past, the village had talked about doing this at every other year, but it sounds like the public would like to see it as an annual event.
Right, I was gonna say, we should plan to have another one in the summer next year and put it in the budget. And I know we have an election with a new mayor and maybe different trustees, but we should start planning now because things like the food trucks need to be ordered a long time in advance to make sure that they're there. So, we can.
As I said in the memo, and I'm not opposed to it, one of the reasons I asked to go every other year was, for those of you who've been in town for a long time, remember what was it called, the Hainesfest? How
Hainesville Fest.
it
Yeah.
happened, peaked, and then it was the same thing over and over again. So I thought spreading it out might help, but obviously we have new families in town. Maybe going every year would be worth trying again. The issue is finding someone to run it.
I know that there were people like Mrs. Strauss who has jumped up and down and said, we will help, we will volunteer to do whatever we need, so we just need someone on the board to sort of lead it. It sounds like they would like more than just one thing. I mean, they were talking about movie night or, other things, maybe an Easter egg hunt or, other things during the year.
Yeah, because they would rather do something in town rather than going to Grays Lake or Round Lake or someplace else.
I don't disagree. Georgianne, I suggest that you don't take it on because you already do a heck of a lot. But we can budget for it and
Well,
see.
I'd certainly be willing to help do something now, and then whoever takes over when the new election comes is fine, but if we don't start doing something now, we're gonna lose some of the things that we would be able to get a hold of.
Christina, how early did Chris start?
Not long after the beginning of the year. I know we met prior to Christmas one year to kind of talk about what could we do throughout the year.
You're working with the food trucks now for our food truck event. What kind of lead time do they normally require to nail them down?
I start my food truck bookings in January.
Okay, so,
And some are already booked, some don't
Yeah.
start booking until, it kind of depends on the truck,
Yeah.
but summers are busy. I don't know whether they're busier on the weekends or not, but I mean, it's not something.
well, that's why I would suggest that maybe we do something, at least for the food trucks, in November maybe, just to make sure that we have a nice selection of things to go.
We just have to pick a date.
You have to pick a date to give
Yeah,
them.
the
Right.
suggestion in talking to a couple of the residents was that in fact, I got an earful from one of the residents who happens to be my dental cleaner. She had a captive audience. But,
Hygienist.
Were you on gas?
no, yeah, right. Maybe, yeah, but I won't even
All right.
go there.
If anybody wants to step up, contact Christina and I'm cutting this right now because I don't want us to be in here
Right,
longer
right.
than we need.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right,
We'll talk and we can set things up and then somebody can take it over, or we will do it, or whatever.
okay, very good. Oh, as long as food trucks were brought up, our big plan was for the park, to have food trucks over there. You know, one of the major projects for next year, replacing that parking lot. We'll put food trucks out here and they can walk to the park, because that's where the picnic tables will be. All right, moving on, Civil War, George.
Got a great help from the Public Works this morning, and we put up all the 4x4 signs. There are 8 of them out around the community here and up on Rollins Road. So those are out now. I will be putting out the signs for the subdivisions the week of. And then I'll get together with Public Works and we'll do the signs for the directional purposes and on the venue a couple of days before.
Okay. Donations, update?
Yeah, we've got about over $9,000 worth of, I sent something to you and Kelly earlier.
I saw it.
And but we've gotten some since then, so we're maybe 1,000, somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 shortfall versus the projected expenses.
We do have money budgeted above and beyond donations for this, so it's not gonna damage us in any way. But that's only if the north winds.
I've sent out all of the thank you letters for the donations that we have received.
Okay.
So they went to Ruby and she's done whatever she does with them. And I just put all the check requests for the people that have to be paid in Kelly's box
Okay.
this evening.
All right, very good, thank you.
Your postcards went out yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to take a minute and update you all on the air situation. We discovered, said yesterday when I got smart, that what I thought and a long time has thought was an exhaust fan connected to the office lights. Flip that switch, you can hear a fan come on. I believed it was an exhaust fan. We find out yesterday from Craig Harity, who owns RH Whip, who was in Florida dealing with the hurricane, talking to a guy up here. No, I think that's fresh air. So we were blowing it out one side and pumping it back in the other. So that's why the lights out there are off. We're working with them off. We brought in some pole lamps, and I will have an electrician out to separate that switch into two switches. So, and we'll label them so we get that. Last night, the numbers of particulates in the air was down to 0 parts per million. Our cleaner came in this morning around 6:30. Construction started about 6:30. We shot up to 63. I can't get instant reports on our sensor out there, so I will reset it when we leave tonight, so I'll have another one for tomorrow morning. We ordered our own sensor. It should arrive tomorrow from Amazon at my house, so they don't have to fight getting in here. And we'll keep tracking it. The machines are all from McMahon. They are purifiers. They're on low now, just so we can hear each other. But they've been running solid since where we were on Tuesday, Monday morning. And that's what helped us get it down. There's 8 of them throughout the building. The gravel work should end Friday. Came up with another idea today. You've seen during the winter, Dave Schultz and the Public Works use our dump truck to spread beet juice sprayer. We're gonna fill the tank with water, and we're gonna water the stone. And the contractor's all for it because it helps compaction and fix it. Everybody will be happy. We should have, if the setup went well, Israel might have already put some down before he left for the day. If not, we'll definitely start tomorrow. It has been a pain in the butt. The staff and I have all experienced symptoms from it. We have, we bailed around 1 o'clock today. We've been going home early. One day we just didn't come in. And the question came up of salary. What do we pay? And I checked with Mike Ellis, the Grays Lake Village Manager, because he's got more experience at this than I do. And he said over the course of his experience, that any time the building was shut down, not because of the employees, but basically a sick building, they paid their employees.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. So that's the situation. We keep fighting it. Hopefully we'll.
One question I was gonna ask is, in the chamber, you say that that's an exhaust fan also. But the thing is, what I'm looking at is what they did over there is almost like an air handling unit, or in other words, air makeup.
I turned it off.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, would we look into that also, just to make sure that it is?
One of the things I put on my list to do is have RH WIT, and we've used RH WIT for decades, for a very long time. And Craig Harity, who is a resident, also is now the owner. I want them to take a look at our whole system. When this building was built in '05, the furnaces that are in there are residential furnaces. So they're not the beer point difference, folks. So I'm gonna have them review it, make recommendations, and we'll go from there. I'm trying to work from knowledge, but some of this has just been make your best guess, get your best information, and find out whether it's right or wrong.
So,
Georgianne?
so it's the dust from the gravel that was causing, I mean, I'm not sure.
We gotta go back a couple weeks where the dust started. Remember, we now know that we had a pipe outside sucking air in and blowing it out. When we started on the park over here, excavating, grading, all that, it was a dust bowl because it was dry. And I mean, you could see clouds of dust kick up. Then, at my request, knowing that this was going to start, Israel and the crew swept their parking lot because there was debris and stone, and Wally got a couple flat tires over there. You can't drive. So they swept it, more dust. And then the milling machine, and you've all seen them on the road, they just grind things up, dump it in a dump truck.
Yeah.
That went crazy. And again, sucking it in and feeding it through here. You could feel it. We all got it in the lungs. A couple of the ladies got bloody noses. Even now I'm getting hoarse, but I've been here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, today, just trying to work on it. Okay, so some good news, but we're still fighting it.
One question.
Yeah.
What level of particulate
The number
do
that
we reach a danger point?
The number we're aiming to get to is 10 or below. We were at one time up to 800.
No.
Yeah, and so it was, last night's reading was 0, and then it got up to 63, which was major gains. But then we're coming in and out. Bob Gamboni, who does our building cleaning, came in, vacuumed the whole thing, and he and I looked at the vacuum filter afterwards. So, on the front of my brain is, once we get through this, we're gonna have the whole building cleaned and the carpet shampooed, because the vacuum just isn't gonna get it all out. I can honestly tell you, I do not know how much McMahon is gonna charge us for those purifiers, and I don't care.
Do we need to do the vents?
Yeah, the air ducts or anything
The air
like that?
ducts, that's what.
I talked to the guy at RH WIT that I've been working with, who is a safe air consultant, and he said, our air vents are not like what you see on TV commercials where they get clogged up.
Yeah.
And he said, because of airflow, there's electrostatic pressure. There'll always be some dust there. I will talk to someone else to find out whether we need to clean our system. We changed furnace filters, just plugging away at it. Okay? And if you ever come up with any more questions or ideas, call Wally, because he bugs me every day about it. All right, Public Works report is in the packet. They have spent, next meeting, later in October, we're gonna take, weather permitting, we're gonna take a field trip through the new park. And Dave Eubanks, Dave Schultz, and Israel will be there to kind of talk you through the process that led us to it. If you haven't been over there, although trees are already losing their leaves because of shock, it's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, it's
Very
pretty-
nice.
they did a really nice job.
Yeah.
We walked it, it was
Um,
nice.
Okay, that's it for Public Works, ad hoc, dog brass plaques.
Yes. Just to kind of remind everybody of what the two plaques we were talking about, if you don't mind. Do you-
No.
You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys remember?
I've looked at it.
Okay. Okay, great.
yeah, I got the picture.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so bronze plaque quote was for And again, because Georgianne, you made a comment about, do we really need 2 plaques?
Yeah, I didn't know that we were considering a plaque for.
What we asked at first was for a veterans
Right.
recognition.
Yes, that's what,
Yeah.
that's all I thought
And
we were
Doug
having.
researched a little bit further. The board will have to approve whatever they want to approve.
And that's what I said too, whatever, you know, the board, the conclusion they come at, that's fine, yeah. So with the 2 plaques, the military one is $630, and for the Elijah Haynes one, that would be $575, for a total of $1,205.
Now, how big are they?
They are, the military one is 16 by 10, and the smaller one is 14 by 10.
Where is it envisioned that we would put these?
Right, thank you. Yeah, well, that I leave to, yeah, I'm open to that one, not my specialty there.
The original, the thought,
Yeah,
it's gonna go out here.
yeah.
I was thinking at the farthest developed garden, so almost up to North Street. There's a couple plantings areas there. But I've given some thought to, but I want your feedback, is what are we mounted on? How do we do it?
There you go. Yeah.
We have, and I'll take ideas first.
Well, you could, one idea would be the same as we've, in the,
For Gary?
no, not for Gary.
Uh,
Well, I don't remember what we did for Gary.
Okay.
But we have a plaque for the butterflies by the gazebo on a stand.
That's the,
Oh, yeah, that's the
That's
big
big
sign,
plastic.
that's a
Yeah.
huge.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
but
it
something
could-
like that.
All right, a stand is possible.
You could put it on the ground by the berm or something too, so it's at an angle.
I mean, we
Could put it down low.
We could put it the way Gary's thing is.
That's on a stick, or a stake in front of a tree, and it's up about maybe this high. What do you think about mounting it on, like that?
I was gonna say on a rock.
Yeah.
Mounting it on a rock,
Yeah.
Of some sort.
and,
Nobody can run off with it.
yeah,
Not easily.
Maybe you're right,
They
he's
could.
right.
And
How
you
do
get to
you,
keep
how do you
it.
mount it on the rock?
Carefully.
There's
I'm, either we can figure it out, or we can talk to the company and say, look, we want to do it, because we have to pick a size of the rock. There's always Dave Schultz, who he
Yeah.
mounted on his rock head.
They've got what they call tap cans. And what you do is you drill into the rock, and then you screw, it's screws
It's a
into
bolt.
the rock, a bolt into the rock.
Yeah.
And then you have the covers for
Oh,
the,
yeah, but
on the plaque.
Okay.
So it's not that hard to mount.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I noticed there's nothing on that military plaque for the Space Force, which is another.
That's funny, because that came up in another, yeah, no, it's.
I mentioned that too.
Yeah, they come under the Air Force actually, so that's, we'll take credit for it.
Well, but-
Not credit for it, we're
The
part of it.
Marines come under the Navy.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
that's what I was gonna say.
The Marines are part of the Navy, right, yeah,
You know,
that's true.
I don't know how many people are in the Space Force. What, 3?
That's a that's a good
It's
question.
mostly civilians, I Googled it.
I'm sorry, what?
It's mostly civilians, civilian contractors in the Space Force, but
What do you,
there's
if we have any Space Force
20,000.
deaths?
I don't think we've had.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Those 2 astronauts that have to expend extra amount of time. Anyway, okay.
So
Can
do
we-
we care about that or not?
It's part of the Air Force.
It's so new, I would probably say, not right now.
There's another plaque down the road.
Because who's,
Yeah.
yeah,
All
right.
right, they can mount it on the moon.
Who's the veteran off of that right now?
Yeah.
It might not be anybody.
Yeah, well, all right, that's fine.
Can we agree on mounting it on a rock?
Yes.
Okay. I'll follow up on it, all right?
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay.
I think we should just do the Veterans Rock. I don't know why we need to put up for Haynes.
You know, my thought was, Georgianne, we've lived here, what, since 2003, and I love the place, so I've always tell people about Hainesville, and they always go, where's Hainesville? Tell me a little bit about Hainesville. And initially, I was like, wow, okay, we have to research that. So maybe this is a way that we can market Hainesville in the sense of like, because you have a good idea for the events that you want to do. Well, we really get the Elijah Haynes history out there, and I think that, and at the
Civil War.
we could start talking about Elijah Haynes, and I think that.
Well,
Well,
there's
he
a guy
is-
who does
Oh,
Elijah
oh,
Haynes.
I
So
love to
he's
meet him.
there.
Oh, I
He's
love to
there
meet
every
him.
year.
Yeah.
You know, come out to the event.
Did you didn't contact him because
No, I did. No, I'm sorry.
Because-
Yeah.
I want to make sure that whatever we put out there is the most important stuff that he accomplished. And I don't know that what you have is, and that's why I wanted you to contact
Okay.
him
Yeah.
to
I mean,
make
he
sure.
really,
he knows
he
his
does the
stuff.
reenactment of that, and he really knows the history of that individual and what he accomplished and what he was doing. I think he was also in the state legislature, I believe,
Yes.
and I'm not
Yes, he
sure
was,
whether,
yeah.
I don't remember,
Okay.
but I'm not sure I was on
Yeah.
the block or not.
Speaking for myself, I'm not interested in putting Elijah Haynes out there, but I want to leave it to the board. So let's just take
Yeah.
Well, and
a straw poll.
it doesn't seem like there's a discount if you buy two together, so maybe veterans now and a second
Somebody's-
one later.
Don't we have a lot of information already in the lobby?
Well, let's see, we got his picture up there.
I thought there was
It's in the book.
There was
And
I mean, he-
On the wall.
But
Yeah.
it's not,
created
it's
the
not
township-
published out there.
Guidebook for the laws
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
township. But I would talk to him, if we're gonna put
Yeah.
something out, let's make sure that we put out the most important things that he did.
Okay, how do we feel? Do we just proceed now with the veterans flag?
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead,
would say
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Comment? I know
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
ordered.
Well, it's not public, but you're here anyway, so go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
10
All right.
seconds.
If we're gonna put the plaque on the rock, which is great, do we have power out there to where we can put a flagpole up and light the American flag up for our veterans?
We have power, we have not discussed the flagpole.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have power in 3 different sites.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
Just a thought.
all right,
That's good.
thank you. So, let's see.
Speaking of that, we ought to consider putting lights on our Hainesville signs. Cause I noticed like Harian has lights on their sign.
The ones coming and going in, the village ones,
But yeah,
they have solar lights on them.
No.
Yeah, Christie Wiggs put them on over a year ago. Now, since I don't go out at night that much, I don't go out at night. I can't tell you whether they still work.
We will check
like,
them
cause
out.
I couldn't see anything, but I didn't know where I would be looking.
Yeah, they're at ground level, solar powered, shooting up, but if the plants grew too big,
Like the one,
Blocking the sun.
on Washington and Hainesville Road has
Yeah.
a light on it? Oh, okay, good.
took a long extension cord, but we got there. All right, thank you, Doug.
Oh, you're welcome.
Down to business, tax levy, discussion only. Mary?
Okay, this is just for discussion. I'll give you a little background. Kelly's not here today because she does not feel well. But I'll give you kind of her background and how she does things and compiles everything. She compiles the calculation information for the annual tax levy, which is corporate and police, for the 2024 property taxes to be paid in 2025. Then Mayor Daley, myself, and Kelly meet and discuss our options on what we think should be appropriate with the tax calculations that she comes up. Then she establishes the dates, like, we have to discuss it first, then we have to prepare the resolution for the next board meeting, and then discussion for the presentation for the actual levy to be done in November, okay? So the property tax extension limitation law, the PTEL, allows tax increases to be by CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index, or by 5%, whichever is less. And this year's is 3.4% that we could ask for an increase of.
And this is the percent of money we get from the real estate tax.
Correct. So we could actually ask for the 3.4% if we felt we needed it. Kelly does a whole calculation for us, and Jerry and I and Kelly sit and look at, the 3.4 compared to 3.0, compared to 2.5%, compared to 2%. there isn't much difference between the 3.4 and the 2%.
Was it about seven?
$6,830 some dollars is basically all it is, okay? So, as a resident, and I'm sure you guys all feel the same way, I would prefer less taxes in my life and not more. And because we are so financially sound in the village, we are proposing that we go with the 2%, which would be about a $10,000 increase from last year's amount that we asked. Last year, we got $495,000. This year, it would bump up to $505,000.
One of the points of conversation was typically schools and other taxing bodies go for the max.
They go for the
Yeah,
max.
they do.
Because their financial situation is different than ours.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is our effort to try to keep our side down because we're doing okay financially.
Yeah, you know, and we don't have, like, the cell tower revenue is gone, because we've lost that little bit of chunk. You know, we've got other things, you know, we're financially sound, but we have the well coming up. We've got, you know, the project coming up with the parking lot over here and the street and stuff. So there is a lot of money going out, coming up, but we still feel that the lower amount would be appropriate for the village.
Question, Mary, and this, again, I guess it would pertain to this maybe. So the state was talking about eliminating
Grocery tax?
the.
Grocery
Right,
tax.
would that somehow be,
Well, that's not part of this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's something else that we can discuss.
okay,
Yeah.
Grocery tax expires in January
January.
26.
okay.
Yeah.
When the bill that the governor signed for that also gave non-home rule and home rule communities the ability to put that 1% back in. So governor looks great. Local municipalities, I just saw an article in the paper this week, look bad because they lose money, they're gonna put that tax back in, but it's the locals. We got last year about $112,000 from it. This will, since it's 2026, this will fall to the new board and new mayor to discuss it and decide whether or not to implement it. There's the grocery tax, we're now allowed to add, to implement a fuel tax and a sales tax. So.
Which wouldn't only affect residents, it would be anybody that stopped at the Walgreens or
Yeah.
stopped at the gas stations and, you know, whatever else too.
Now, jumping ahead, it looks
Thank you,
like
Mayor.
we get money from the cannabis thing
Oil.
that we use toward the police department, so that makes it less money than.
Well, that's, our ordinance that's on the agenda tonight is catching up with the fact that that's how it's been. Our regular payments have always covered that.
Oh.
But
oh,
the state
I-
wants a delineation.
Oh, I thought this was a new thing.
No.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So, any other questions about the levy?
No,
Do you
thank you,
want
Mary. That was
do you
good.
want a consensus or something?
No.
This is just discussion.
There's
Yeah.
discussion tonight, start
Next
in.
week, or next month, well,
Yeah.
this month, but next board meeting.
The second
Next board
October.
meeting. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mary. I need a motion for the approval of a proposal for development of a source water protection plan.
That's a one-time thing.
I can answer that when we get to discussion.
Oh, sorry.
So moved.
Second.
It has to be developed. This is a state law. This is the one I told you that Robinson missed the date on, okay? So this $8,500 is to develop the plan. It's mandated by the state, and it will have to be reviewed, best guess by Robinson at this point, because the state hasn't put out the details every 4 to 5 years. So it's paperwork. The $8,500 is not penalty for Robinson missing the date. There are no penalty. This is just the cost of putting the report together.
I mean, I think that maybe they should give us a break on the cost because they screwed up.
There's been no penalty to us because of their screw up.
Well,
This is what they
whatever.
would have cost us,
It's
charged
mandated
us no matter
anyways.
what.
Yeah.
I know, but.
I know you're the negotiator.
You
I respect
Get it,
that.
right?
But
If you don't ask, you don't get, right?
That is true,
I
that
didn't
is
ask.
true. That is true.
You did, and they said.
Of course I did.
And they said, too bad.
No, because it would have, even if they did it on time,
It would have been 8,600.
it would have been this
Yeah.
amount.
Okay.
All right? Any other questions or comments?
Is this something in the future that DeWalt would do for us, or do we plan to keep Robinson for the water?
For the new board.
When we were going through the engineering change last year, my original thought was they're gonna get the whole thing, Gaywell was. Then I started thinking about, in talking to Gaywell, about the transition of assuming control of the water and the, what do I wanna call it, the knowledge that Robinson had. Didn't have the problems with Robinson Water that we had with Robinson Engineering. So it made our transition less painful. Now, the engineering firms are appointed by the mayor and the board. And my appointment days are over, although we will have a Gaywell contract coming up this year, but it's a different subject. We're gonna stick with them at least until the end of my term. Okay? If the new board, new mayor wants to revisit that, they can have at it. But again, the water side has been dependable. John Rucker, who's our field guy, knows more about our water system than anybody.
And he's
So-
very quick to respond to any issues and everything.
Yeah.
So the water and the engineering are
Separate.
Completely separate.
Yeah.
Now, there's some
Okay.
engineering involved in the water.
Mhm.
For example, when we, new well, tie it into the existing line, they'll be involved.
But
Okay.
Well, now-
DeWalt is doing the well, the new well,
Pardon?
but the new engineers.
Gaywall,
Okay, well.
Yeah.
mhm,
yeah.
Are doing. the
It looks like Gaywall, but it's Gaywall.
Gaywall.
Yes,
Gaywall,
Gaywall. Mhm.
okay.
George?
But they're doing the new one.
Yes.
Forget his name now, but the guy who was overall in charge of Robinson, is he still involved with the water people?
Steve?
Well, are you talking to President Aaron Fong?
No, I'm,
Greg Todd?
Terry Graham.
no, not,
Terry, Hiram? Rodriguez?
no.
Rick Lieber?
Steve,
Steve,
Who?
Steve,
Steve Zink? No. I mean, he's still with the firm, but the water is pretty much Greg Toft.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and Rick Lieber above him. Okay, and Greg is Greg and Rucker are our regular contacts.
You mentioned something about staying with Robinson at least until your term is up. But if the new board wants to make a change, do we have,
15 days notice.
oh, okay, that answers my question.
Okay, all right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Aye.
Kreis,
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein,
aye.
Koval,
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Although I, with Georgiana, it would be nice if they just miss the deadline, do it for free.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion for an ordinance amending certain sections of Title II of the Village of Hainesville Code of Ordinances regarding the commencement of village officer terms of office.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I can't believe that it was never in there in the first place.
Well, the reason, if you remember in the old days, long, long time ago, we used to have 2 meetings in a
Oh,
month.
that's right.
And we'd seated, you and I were seated at the first meeting of the month. So if there was no conflict. So the couple elections since, all of a sudden it came up, oh, okay. Other discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Aye.
Kreis,
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein,
Aye.
Koval,
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried. Ordinance number 24-9-364.
I need a motion to approve a resolution approving an amendment to the police service agreement among the Village of Grays Lake and the Village of Hainesville.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I didn't read the, I mean, what's the difference?
This is just, the state wants reports indicating that the money that we receive, the Cannabis Act, that it is used in deterrence, education, in other parts of, against cannabis or about cannabis. We had just been, and we will continue just to make our monthly payment to them, but we need to modify this, so if the state says, is your drug money being used the proper way?
Yeah.
Okay, so this says it's being used the proper way.
Okay. How much do we get each month from the cannabis tax, do you know?
I don't know, I'm
Top of
too
my
high.
head,
But, I
How
gotta-
much drug
let me
money
see.
He's got too much
Yeah.
dust in his.
Yeah, exactly, it's
Yeah.
smoky in here.
It's brain fog, it's the dust.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't know off the top of my head. Well,
Under 1,000?
a month?
Yeah.
Oh, God. 50,000 a year is sticking in my head, but I'll have Kelly look it up tomorrow and drop you an email, okay?
All right, I've got 3 questions.
One at a time, I'm slow.
You said something about we pay them.
We pay
Police
the village
department.
of Grays Lake for police services.
Oh, okay, well, what does that have to do with cannabis?
Village of Hainesville receives cannabis money from the state.
Right.
The state is requiring us to be able to account for that cannabis money, how it's being used.
Got that.
Okay?
So what,
It's through the police department that does the enforcement, the education.
oh, okay,
Okay.
because that was gonna be
That
my
was the
next
tie.
question.
Okay.
We're not holding costs.
So in other words, we pay the police, we give that money that we get to the police, and they do all this stuff that
Yes.
they need to
Mhm.
do. Okay,
Okay?
yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Roll call.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Aye.
Kreis,
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein,
Aye.
Koval,
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried, resolution R 24-9-178.
I need a motion to approve an ordinance confirming the permanent and temporary shooting courses for the Northbrook Sports Club.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Was, what, and maybe you discussed this before, but what, if any, pushback or discussion we got from the sports club about this?
I had a number of conversations with their board president and with Brett Seibert, the manager. And in agreeing to this, when I went back and did Google measurements, only course 9, which is the one the farthest to the north, is within 1,000 feet of any businesses. So they didn't have a lot of choice on it. They don't like the fact that they have to get approval from all 3 businesses that are affected, and they think any one could shut them down. But that's what the law is. I went and spoke personally to the owners of all 3 businesses to let them know about this, and they said, yeah, no problem. I mean, their buildings haven't been hit, there's that sort of stuff. But the ordinance also stops the development of additional courses without permission. So, I mean, that's the previous ordinance, and this is just a modification.
Right.
And this one includes maps, course layout, so future administrations and boards will have it as reference.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein,
Aye.
Kreis,
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein,
Aye.
Koval,
Aye.
and Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried, ordinance number 24-9-365.
Is there anything going on with this, with the problem with the water and
And manager?
the
No.
Manitou people and,
I've had conversations a couple of weeks ago with our two representatives, asked them to go out and inspect the work. Last time we spoke about it, there was one major seeding to take place, and that was gonna be in the fall, and that was the last part of the project. And so I just called these guys yesterday and said, give me an update.
And we did get whatever we did.
Recertified?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Need a motion for an ordinance authorizing the disposal of personal property no longer necessary or useful to the village.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, have another question.
It's for
Surprise,
sale if you
surprise,
want.
right?
Go ahead.
By getting rid of this thing, we have, no longer have the capability for something that may come up in the future to do these mass mailings. That'd be,
4 people in the office, they'll sit and fold, not a problem.
okay.
That's what we did in the old days.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I-
Yeah.
Yeah, as
If
it
it's
says,
a one-time project every once in a while.
Yeah,
Divide
because I didn't want to put extra
yeah.
stuff
They
on you
make
guys.
We have all in the office taken turns labeling envelopes and whatnot. And,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
It was, we first got it early on in our, so 2009, 2010, somewhere around there, when we were mailing everything home. And now Christina has hooked us up when she started with Constant Contact. More, well, Facebook somewhat is used, and our CTY, we get the information out there. So if we
Yeah,
have to.
I guess even the newsletter is automated now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I hand mail 9 of them a month per request.
The joy about the old newsletters being mailed home with water bills, and when people used to use the envelope to return it,
Yeah.
we get the newsletters.
Yeah,
back
right,
a lot.
right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Unless they read it and then returned
turn
it.
it to save paper. Yeah, thanks, George. Roll call, please.
Trustees Richmond,
Aye.
George Duberstein.
Aye.
Crease.
Aye.
Georgianne Duberstein.
Aye.
Koval.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye.
Motion carried, ordinance 24-9-366.
After you adjourn, I have a small world story that'll take 2 seconds. I just have to tell you guys.
On board, this is your trip story?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
What I did on my summer vacation? Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:16. Thank you.
There was a tea expert who has lived in China for the past 30 years. And as he...
He's a US citizen.
Yeah. An American. And as he was walking down the aisle, I had heard that he had learned about tea when he was working in a Chinese restaurant. So I stopped him, I said, so, working in a Chinese restaurant? He said, yeah, in Atlanta. I said, we lived in Atlanta. He says, oh, you live in Georgia? I said, no, we live in Illinois. His mother lives in Rays Lake.
Really? What are the chances of that?
So he had to take a picture with the 2 of us
Yeah.
to send to her.
Oh,
All right.
That's my small world story.
wow. 6 degrees of separation.